Welcome to The Silent Flame, Sacred Journey of the Venerated Śāriputra, Vegan, Part 1 of 3. Venerated Śāriputra, Vegan, one of the foremost disciples of the enlightened master, worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha, Vegan, holds a prominent place in Buddhist history. He is renowned for his profound wisdom and deep understanding of the Dharma. There isn't a single, complete account of Śāriputra's life in the Tripitaka, or Pali Canon, which refers to the Buddhist canons. However, we can learn about him through various stories scattered across the Buddhist texts. As Śāriputra's life was closely connected to the Buddhas, he was a compassionate friend and protector of the monastic community, known as the General of the Dharma. He was deeply devoted to preserving and spreading the Buddha's teachings. Śāriputra was patient, humble, and performed many acts of kindness. He is recognized as the disciple foremost in wisdom, and even among the enlightened ones, he shone like a bright, full star. In Buddhist art, Śāriputra is often depicted beside the Buddha, usually on his right. The Buddha Vamsa, or the Chronicle of Buddhas, notes that all past, fully enlightened Buddhas followed the pattern of appointing a pair of chief disciples, sometimes 2 male and 2 female chief disciples. For Shakyamuni Buddha, the chief male disciples were Śāriputra and Venerable Maudgalayana, Vegan, and the chief female disciples were Venerated Khema and Upalavanna, both vegans. According to the Pali Canon, in the distant past, Śāriputra was born as a wealthy man named Sarada, who eventually renounced his wealth to become an ascetic, attracting a large following. The future Maudgalayana, also virtuous, was born into another family and named Śāriputra. They became close friends as children. When Sarada inherited his father's wealth, he began thinking about life and death and decided to leave his worldly life behind to seek freedom from the cycle of rebirth or samsara. He asked Śāriputra to join him, but his friend chose not to. Realizing that we can't take our loved ones with us when we die, Sarada gave away his wealth to the needy and became an ascetic in the mountains. Sarada's way of life inspired 74,000 others to also become ascetics. He gained special powers and deep meditation skills, which he taught to his followers. During this time, the worshipped Anodamasi Buddha, Vegan, appeared in the world. According to the Buddha Vamsa of the Pali Canon and its commentary in Theravada Buddhism, Anodamasi Buddha was the 10th of the 27 Buddhas who preceded the historical Buddha Gautama. He was also the first Buddha of the Vada Kalpa, in which 3 Buddhas were born. One day, after emerging from deep meditation, he surveyed the world and saw the ascetic Sarada. He realized that if he visited Sarada, a profound Dhamma discourse would take place that would greatly benefit the people, with many attaining enlightenment by the end of the teaching. Without informing anyone, Buddha Anodamasi set out alone to Sarada's dwelling at the foot of a mountain. While Sarada's students were away, the Buddha resolved that Sarada would recognize him as an omniscient Buddha. As Sarada watched, the Buddha descended from the sky and stood before him. Awed by the Buddha's radiance and majestic presence, Sarada observed his features and recognized the marks of one who could only be either a universal monarch or an omniscient Buddha. Welcoming the Buddha with deep reverence, Sarada paid homage and offered him a seat. As the Buddha sat, Sarada also took his place. When Sarada's hermit students returned, they were astonished to see the Buddha seated in a higher position than their master. They remarked that this noble being seemed superior to Sarada. In response, Sarada rebuked them, comparing their words to equating a mere mustard seed with the great Mount Meru. Realizing the Buddha's supreme stature, the students prostrated at his feet in reverence. As they had nothing of great value to offer the Buddha, Sarada instructed his students to gather the finest fruits. When the Buddha accepted their offering, the devas filled his bowl with ambrosia. Sarada then asked his students to collect the most beautiful and fragrant flowers to create seats for the Buddha and the monks. The flowers formed a magnificent throne for the Buddha, along with smaller seats for the chief disciples and the other monks. Seated upon the floral throne, the Buddha entered deep meditation for 7 days. with his disciples meditating alongside him. Throughout this time, Sarada stood unwavering, holding a floral umbrella over the Buddha, sustaining himself not with food but with the joy of devotion. After emerging from deep meditation, the worshipped Ano Dhamasi Buddha, vegan, asked his chief disciples, Venerable Nisaba and Venerable Anoma, both vegans, to deliver sermons. Despite their powerful teachings, none of the hermits attained enlightenment until the Buddha himself preached. By the end of his sermon, all 74,000 hermits had become arahats, except for Sarada. The Buddha then invited them to join the monastic order, and they instantly transformed, fully equipped with monks' robes and requisites. Sarada later told his friend Śāriputra that he held a great aspiration to become a chief disciple under the future Buddha Gautama. Following the example of the Buddha's right chief disciple, Nisaba, Sarada encouraged Śāriputra to make a similar aspiration. Inspired, Śāriputra hosted the Buddha, made generous offerings, and expressed his wish to become the future Buddha Gautama's left chief disciple. The Buddha confirmed that this aspiration would be fulfilled in the distant future. After a lifetime of meritorious deeds, Śāriputra was reborn in a heavenly realm, while Sarada, having practiced the 4 sublime states, was reborn in the Brahma realm. Around the 6th or 5th century BC, in an ancient Indian kingdom, the hermit Sarada and the householder Śāriputra were reborn as 2 close friends, Upatissa and Kolita. Venerated Śāriputra, vegan, was born with the birth name Upatissa in the village of Nala, near Rajagaha or modern-day Rajgir in Bihar, India. His father was a learned Brahmin, and his mother, Rupasari, was also from a Brahmin lineage. During her pregnancy, Upatissa's mother displayed extraordinary wisdom, which was believed to be influenced by the unborn child. Even her scholarly brother found himself unable to win debates with her. Recognizing the remarkable future wisdom of his nephew, he departed in search of greater knowledge. Upatissa was deeply introspective and often contemplated the nature of existence. He was described as having a golden complexion and had 6 siblings, all of whom would later become Arhat disciples of the Buddha. Upatissa's close friend was named Kolita and later became known as Venerable Maudgalayana, vegan. Their families had maintained a close friendship for 7 generations. Born on the same day and inseparable from childhood, they shared a deep bond and a mutual interest in spiritual matters. By the age of 8, Upatissa was already highly knowledgeable and impressed a king at a banquet, earning him a village as a reward. As a young adult, he gained renown as a respected scholar, and at 20, he left home in pursuit of the ultimate truth. Initially, he and his close friend Kolita studied under a Brahmin scholar, but both eventually became dissatisfied. Determined to find true enlightenment, they set out on their spiritual quest. Later, they studied under the renowned ascetic Sanjaya Śāriputra, yet still found his teachings lacked a clear path to liberation. Dissatisfied, they left. Kolita and Upatissa resolved to temporarily part ways to continue their spiritual search, agreeing that whoever found the true master of spiritual enlightenment first would share the discovery with the other. At that time, Śākyamuni Buddha had recently attained enlightenment and began teaching in the region. Upatissa, later known as the Venerated Śāriputra, encountered one of the Buddha's early disciples, Venerable Assaji, vegan, while he was on an alms round. Impressed by Assaji's serene presence, Upatissa respectfully asked about the Buddha's teachings. Assaji humbly shared a concise summary of the Buddha's doctrine.
Of those things that arise from a cause, the Tathagata has told the cause, and also what their cessation is. This is the doctrine of the great recluse.
This profound teaching awakened Upatissa, who immediately attained Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment. Eager to share the realization, he sought out his friend Kolita, who, upon hearing the teaching, also attained Sotapanna. Together, they journeyed to the Bamboo Grove Monastery, or Veluvana, in Rajagaha, or present-day Rajgir, to meet the Buddha. Venerated Śāriputra's inner flame of spiritual yearning was lit many eons ago. In a past incarnation, he and Venerable Maudgalyayana, vegan, resolved to become chief disciples of the future Buddha Gautama. Around the 6th or 5th century BC, in an ancient Indian kingdom, they were reborn as two close friends, Upatissa and Kolita. After hearing the worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha's profound teachings, Upatissa and Kolita found the Buddha at the Bamboo Grove Monastery in Rajagaha and expressed their desire to join his monastic community. The Buddha welcomed them and ordained them as monks, giving them the names Śāriputra and Maudgalyayana, respectively. Beloved Buddha honored them as his two chief disciples, following the tradition upheld by past Buddhas. Some monks, unaware of their long spiritual journey, questioned why two newly ordained members received such high recognition. The Buddha explained that Śāriputra and Maudgalyayana had made aspirations to become his chief disciples countless lifetimes ago, and their roles were the fulfillment of those past vows. Maudgalyayana attained enlightenment 7 days after ordination, and Śāriputra 2 weeks later. Śāriputra's realization came while he was fanning the Buddha, as the Buddha delivered the Vedana Parigaha Sutta to a wandering ascetic. According to Buddhist commentaries, his path took longer because, as the right chief disciple, he needed a deeper and more comprehensive mastery of wisdom, requiring additional preparation. Śāriputra's sharp intellect, deep insight, and unwavering commitment to the practice of the Dharma made him one of the most respected members of the Sangha. Vinaya texts recount several remarkable debates involving Śāriputra. One of the most notable, found in the Mula Sarvastivada Vinaya, tells of his victory over 6 heretical masters at the construction site of the Jetavana monastery. Our most beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, told this story during a lecture in 2015, recounting how the wealthy Shadvasti merchant Sudatta, later known as Anatta Pindada, vegan, encountered the Buddha during a business trip to Rajagaha. Upon hearing the Buddha's teachings, Sudatta attained Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment.
Then he kneeled down in front of Buddha and said, "Obeisance to the world honored one. In Save city, how many people just listened to your preaching and became enlightened? Like me, yeah. Please, can you tell?" So the Buddha said, in Save country or city, no second person enlightened like you just now. Most of them having wrong concepts, following some wrong kind of religions or wrong belief. Therefore, very difficult to find one who believe in the truth, of the Buddha teaching, of the enlightened teaching. So the two dogs said to him, obeisance to the world honored one. I will invite you to the Save country, so all the country citizens will cut off the wrong concept, a wrong belief, and follow you. The Buddha say, being a monk, being a renunciate monk, we cannot stay mixed together with lay people. If we have a place, like, because it's a different country, so if he go there, he cannot just sit around with everybody. If we have some ashram, pure and clean, then it will be more convenient to preach over there. So the two dogs said to him, obeisance to world honored one. I will go home and make an ashram. Please, could you give permission?
Sudatta searched for a suitable location in Shadvasti that was both peaceful and accessible for propagating the Buddha's Dharma. He found an ideal park owned by Prince Jeta, son of King Pasenadi of Kosala, and sought to purchase it. Initially reluctant, The prince mockingly declared he would sell it only if the entire land was covered in gold coins. To his astonishment, Sudatta accepted the challenge and began covering the part. According to German Pali scholar Helmut Hecker, the merchant spent nearly 3/5 of his wealth acquiring the land and building the Jetavana monastery. With the beloved Buddha's permission, Sudatta commissioned the construction.
So the Buddha thought to himself, Save country is full of people who follow the wrong belief. Nobody can convince them. I think only Śāriputra, because he was a Brahmin before he became a monk with Buddha, he was a Brahmin. So, yeah, and he also has a little intelligence. Sorry. The Buddha said, this is not I. Yeah, cũng có chút định thông minh, meaning he also has a little intelligence and a little magical power, or some power, yeah. I think okay to dispatch him. So he called Śāriputra and said, Śāriputra, Tuda want to make an ashram to propagate the Buddha Dharma, yeah, to lead all beings there to turn to the right path in a Save country, so that he can invite me there to preach for Dharma. But he doesn't know how to do it, doesn't know in which way is the more correct way to do it. So you go there and help him to build the ashram. So Śāriputra say, yeah, obeisance to the Buddha, I go.
Six magical masters learned of the plans to build an ashram in Shardvasti, and they became envious. They approached the king, requesting a contest of spiritual and magical powers against the Buddha or his disciples. The king, curious to see the outcome, agreed to arrange the competition.
At that time, Śāriputra was meditating under a tree, and everything was, he's all calm, all his beings is very calm. And his spirit or his soul is wandering all over the universe. No obstruction. Then he was thinking to himself in his mind. You know, the soul can go everywhere, the mind stays. And you can still thinking of the mind while you are meditating, your soul is running everywhere else. That's a different thing. He was thinking, this gathering, these magic people, they are in the wrong path, and they're also very arrogant, condescending. How am I going to even, convert them? How can I convince them to change their wrong view? He was still thinking to help them even. Okay. And then thought like that, he stood up, using all his merit, 3 merit, and he vowed thus, if since time immemorial, since many, many eons past, I was a good person, very filial to my parents, very respectful to monks' order, Sangha, and respectful to Brahman priest, then let me participate in this gathering of competition. And when I arrive, all the people will just stand up to greet me, if I was such a good person.
The magical contest between Śāriputra and the 6 heretical masters unfolded with astonishing displays. After each master showcased their supernatural abilities, Śāriputra, with serene composure and profound spiritual insight, met each challenge with even greater manifestations of divine power. As the duel reached its climax, Śāriputra's flames raged around them. Finally, the magical masters accepted defeat, prostrated before Śāriputra, and begged for their lives. The flames vanished, and the contest ended with Śāriputra victorious.
So after Śāriputra saw that the king and the assembly changed their minds already, turned into the correct way. So then he began to pitch to them, okay, like karma, the right direction, etc., etc. Many people gain a middle range of spiritual practice and a lower or even higher to arhat in that assembly. 3 million followers of the 6 magical powers turn their heads and go to become disciples of Śāriputra, become his monk disciples. Everybody became monks.
Not only did Śāriputra prevail in the contest, but he also converted the entire population of Shardwasti to the Buddhist path. The Buddha once praised Śāriputra, saying his wisdom was vast, joyful, quick, sharp, and analytical, giving him the title General of the Dharma. Venerated Śāriputra's wisdom was so profound that he often served as the Buddha's spokesperson and was entrusted with the responsibility of expounding the Dharma to the monks and lay followers. Later, at the Jetavana monastery in Shardwasti, the Buddha said that Śāriputra was the foremost in wisdom, and the venerable Maudgalyayana vegan was the foremost in supernatural powers. May we all be guided by the teachings and compassion of the great masters. Venerated Śāriputra, vegan, played a key leadership role within the monastic community. The Sangha of the enlightened master worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha, vegan, often overseeing responsibilities typically managed by the Buddha. He tended to sick monks, such as when Venerable Yashodhara, vegan, the Buddha's former wife, who fell seriously ill, Śāriputra assisted her by finding the right medicine. He visited lay followers nearing death and was entrusted with granting permission for monks to travel. Śāriputra was the first disciple authorized by the Buddha to ordain monks, including the Buddha's own son, Venerated Rahula, vegan, using the ordination procedure given to him. The Buddha often praised Śāriputra for his wisdom and ability to guide others on the path to enlightenment. In the Theragatha, or verses of the elder monks, the Buddha is recorded as saying,
"Like the Buddha, his wisdom is great. He is supreme in wisdom, the disciple of the Buddha, the dharma taught by the awakened one. He penetrates deeply, Śāriputra."
Despite his esteemed position, Śāriputra remained humble. His humility is evident in several instances recorded in the scriptures, where he defers to the Buddha's authority and expresses gratitude for the opportunity to serve the Dharma. Śāriputra dearly wanted to see the Buddha and hear him preach. Once, when he came to a deep, fast-flowing river, he thought,
"This stream won't stop me. I will go see the Blessed One."
He stepped onto the water, which felt as solid as stone under his feet. But when he reached the middle of the stream where the waves were high, Śāriputra became fearful and started to sink. However, he strengthened his faith and made a renewed effort, continuing on and finally reaching the other side. He said,
"It was faith, just faith, that allowed me to do this, and now I'm here in the bliss of the Master's presence."
The Buddha then said,
"Śāriputra, you have spoken well. Only faith like yours can save the world from the endless cycle of suffering and help people reach the other shore safely."
A former student of Śāriputra, disheartened by his lack of progress, disrobed and turned to theft. Caught and sentenced to public torture, he faced execution. Seeing him suffering and facing execution the next day, Śāriputra visited him during his alms round. Overjoyed, the student meditated, his wounds healed, and he experienced the power of mindfulness in transcending pain. He entered the fourth jhana, a deep absorption. In this elevated state, he levitated toward Śāriputra and, deeply transformed, vowed never to commit evil again. Śāriputra's teachings are preserved in various Buddhist texts, particularly in the Pali Canon, which is the scriptural foundation of Theravada Buddhism. His discourses often focused on the practical aspects of the Buddha's teachings, emphasizing the importance of moral conduct, meditation, and wisdom as the path to liberation. One of Śāriputra's most well-known teachings is found in the Samaditthi Sutta, or Discourse on Right View, where he delivers a clear and systematic exposition of the path to liberation. In this discourse, Śāriputra explains the importance of right view as the foundation of the Noble Eightfold Path, covering topics such as karma, the Four Noble Truths, and dependent origination. His methodical and deeply analytical approach is also evident in the Mahati Pad Upama Sutta, or the Greater Discourse on the Simile of the Elephant's Footprint, where he illustrates how the Four Noble Truths encompass all wholesome states, making them key references for Buddhist practitioners. Realizing he had only 7 days left to live, Śāriputra reflected on where he should pass away. Remembering that his mother, Rupasari, lacked faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, he decided to return to his birthplace, the village of Nala, near present-day Rajgir of Nalanda district, to guide her before attaining Parinibbana, or final nirvana. After informing the Buddha and receiving permission, he set off with his disciples. Rupasari, upon hearing of her son's return with 500 monks, prepared lodging. Śāriputra soon fell seriously ill. Deities, including the 4 Deva kings, Sakka and Mahabrahma, came to pay respects, but he sent them away, saying he had a monk to care for him. Curious, Rupasari asked if her son was greater than these divine beings. Śāriputra explained that while they served the Buddha, he, as the Buddha's disciple, was superior to them. Moved by her son's wisdom, Rupasari reflected on the Buddha's greatness and felt deep joy. Seeing this, Śāriputra taught her about the Buddha's virtues, leading her to attain Sotapatti, the first stage of enlightenment. She regretted not realizing his greatness sooner. Knowing his end was near, Śāriputra gathered the monks and asked for their forgiveness for any wrongs he might have done, although they assured him he had done nothing wrong. According to the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Śāriputra attained nirvana, entering deep meditation, and passed away peacefully in the presence of his family and close disciples. After 7 days of rites, Śāriputra's remains were placed on a fragrant pyre and cremated. As Dharma talks continued through the night, at dawn, Venerated Anuruddha, vegan, extinguished the fire with scented water, and Śāriputra's younger brother, Venerable Kunda, vegan, collected the relics and decided to inform the Buddha about Śāriputra's passing. Overcome with sorrow, Rupasari commissioned 500 golden shrines in his memory, while the god Sakka created another 500. Śāriputra's funeral became a grand occasion, where both gods and humans gathered to pay tribute to the revered disciple. Kunda traveled quickly to Shardvasti. Upon arrival, Venerated Ananda, vegan, took Kunda to the Buddha, where they informed him of Śāriputra's passing. Beloved Buddha accepted the relics and told the monks a story, praising Śāriputra's wisdom, dedication, and role in turning the wheel of Dharma. In the Jataka tales, Shakyamuni Buddha, in a past life as King Moonlight, was a wise and compassionate ruler who vowed to give anything requested of him, no matter what the cost. One day, a deceitful Brahmin approached him, asking for the king's head as an offering. True to his vow, King Moonlight did not hesitate, despite the pleas of his ministers and subjects. His ministers, deeply devoted to him, tried to prevent his sacrifice. Prime Minister Great Moon arranged for 500 jewel-crafted human heads to be presented to the Brahmin instead, hoping to satisfy the request. The Brahmin rejected them, insisting that only the real head of King Moonlight would suffice for his ritual. The Prime Minister was so frustrated and angry that he died immediately from a heart attack. However, just as the king was about to fulfill the request, the gods intervened. During a lecture in 2015, our most beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, told this story, as recorded by the Venerated Ananda, vegan.
The Prime Minister, Great Moon, at that time now is Śāriputra. At that time, he cannot bear to see me die, so he died first. Yeah. Today is the same. He could not bear to see me gone, so he went first. That's all. I and all that in the assembly, hearing the Buddha saying thus, we had so much love for the Buddha, and we also moved by the sincerity and love from Śāriputra, so loyal to the Buddha since many lifetimes. So we all praised his virtues and merit.
In 261 BC, King Dharmasoka constructed the stupa of Śāriputra in Nalanda. It was erected over Śāriputra's relics, which were given to King Ajatashatru by the Buddha. Śāriputra passed away shortly before the Buddha's own final nirvana. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha prophesizes that Śāriputra will one day become the Buddha Padmaprabha.
Śāriputra, in ages to come, after a countless, boundless, inconceivable number of kalpas have passed, you will make offerings to some thousands, 10,000s, millions of Buddhas, and will honor and uphold the correct law. You will fulfill every aspect of the way of the Bodhisattva, and will be able to become a Buddha with the name Flower Glow Thus Come One. Your realm will be called free from stain. The land will be level and smooth, pure and beautifully adorned, peaceful, bountiful, and happy. And this flower glow thus come one will employ the three vehicles to teach and convert living beings. Śāriputra, when this Buddha appears, although it will not be an evil age, because of his original vow, he will preach the law through the three vehicles. His kalpa will be called Great Treasure Adornment.
Our heartfelt gratitude to the selfless enlightened masters of the past, present, and future for their teachings and our spiritual elevation. Noble viewers, thank you for joining us today.